alternative fit, although maybe it does. I don't know. What do you think?
Is there a folk?
There is folk.
I'd say it falls into that somewhat.
Hmm.
It's got acoustic elements.
I mean, just because it's got acoustic doesn't make it folk music.
That's true. That's true. Maybe it's like anti-folk. Is there an anti-folk?
No, there's Cooper. There's like 15 music tags. So how's your
Fair,
day been?
fair. Pretty good. Slept on a little bit. Since we watched Holes last night, I was a bit
Yeah,
tired.
I didn't wake up till 1.
Oh my, it's pretty late. Yeah, I woke up around like 10ish.
Yeah, that
Um,
was the day before. I stayed up super late for D&D as well. So I
so
think
just
I was
accumulated tiredness.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and played on the new keyboard a little bit. Some
Nice, nice.
read a little bit. Making carnitas tonight. I meant to wake
Ooh.
up earlier so that I could have made them and eaten them before audio shop,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still in the Instapot, so I'll have to wait till after. Then I'll make them.
Oh well. I I had to put together my breakfast for the week earlier since I have to go in, and it's always depressing now when I do that because it's like, oh, well, I'll make 5 because I might have to go in every day this week. It's like I really don't want to go into every day this week.
Yeah, well, pandemic's over, Sam.
It's really not.
Gotta.
It's getting worse here. I don't want to go into
Hmm.
work.
Yeah, no, I also make my breakfast even though I don't go into work. I make this overnight oats where you put like oats in like
Mm,
a glass container, and I actually just bought some oat milk to make it extra oaty.
that sounds
It's a little
good.
more. It's a little more expensive, but it also. I usually use almond milk, but
Mm,
almonds are very non-economic, ecologically sustainable. So switched over to oat milk and
yeah.
avocados. Take a lot of water.
What?
Avocados.
What about them?
They take a lot of water to
Oh, do
grow.
they?
Yeah, yeah, like a bunch.
Hmm.
Them and almonds
I
out in
had no idea.
California. They take a bunch.
Oh, right, almond farming. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with avocados.
I see. Yeah, I do breakfast burritos just because it's something that I can grab as I walk out the door and eat it while I drive to work. So
Yeah, oats are less easy, but I don't
yeah,
have to drive, so
yeah. Shut the fuck up.
it's easy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But beyond that, trying to get done on my got book club this week. Joined a book club, so that's what I've been trying to finish up.
What book you reading?
It's called The Nickel Boys.
Hmm.
It's about a juvie in the 1960s. The story itself is fictitious, but the juvie that it's at is real. And some bad stuff went down there. Real bad stuff. Yes, the
Holes
story
level
is,
bad or
well, worse than Holes.
oh.
Holes is just like, oh, they're mean to me. This one's like, uh-oh, you might, just disappear.
Hmm.
Uh, so. So actually, that was at the end of Holes, so I guess maybe approaching that, yeah. He just ran off.
Yeah.
Okay,
How many times had they done that prior?
what, Holes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, probably a while. She's been there a while. Dude was a convict, and the other dude wasn't even a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, Madame Zeroni.
Such a
So
stupid
I could
movie.
be strong too. Oh,
Such a
come on.
stupid movie.
Come on. You kind of liked it, though.
It was stupid, is what it
It
was.
had it had charms. I will admit there was a lot more of flashback sequences than I remembered. It's like a third of the movie.
Yeah.
Come on, the secret to good foot odor is peaches and onions.
It's a stupid movie. I'm sticking by that. Stick by it.
I decided it didn't live up to the expectation.
Oh no, we're competing against Quakecon.
Quakecon. Oh, is that going on right now? I guess it's probably all online.
Well, yeah, It's called Quakecon at home.
Ooh.
Is Bethesda even relevant?
I mean, they sell a lot of video games, yeah. in terms of sales, I would say so.
Yeah. What is this? What game are they showing right now? Is this the whatever game they teased before, the Starscape or whatever?
What is that? A new like open world type game?
I don't know, but you just remember it was the same time they released that shitty trailer. I say trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. It wasn't a trailer. It was a the title the title sequence for Elder Scrolls 6.
No, they're just announcing that they're working on it.
Yeah. I don't think this is that game. But I can't tell what the fuck he's playing because oh yeah, is this that game where you're on a space station? No, it's not. Never mind. I don't know what this is.
Oh.
Because they just are streaming under special events instead of actually what the game is.
Maybe it's Elder Scrolls in space. They did it, gang.
Is this Quake? Is this what Quake is?
I don't know. Never played Quake.
I haven't either.
I thought Quake was like fighting like wizards and demons and stuff, right?
I have no idea.
Maybe it is aliens.
Know.
I do not know.
Well, you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop Podcast. This week we are talking about Flight of the Conchords by Flight of the Conchords.
Yes, self-titled.
Mainly because Cooper and I started singing Footy Fa Fa at the beginning of the week, and we're like, we should listen to that.
I mean, it's their debut album. Yeah. It's the first song off their debut album, so it felt like a good place to start.
Mm-hmm. You want to give a little bit of the history?
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit of a fan of this band, gotta say. So I'm not going into this album blind by any means. I'm assuming you are, Sam?
I've definitely listened to the album in the past, although it's been many a year. I didn't read up on the history, though. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, to give a little background, so the band itself is a duo by lead members Brett McKenzie and Jermaine Clement.
Late members, are they dead?
No, I said... No. Well, I guess, they kind of form back and forth. The band kind of they just kind of come together every now and then. They're not dead.
On again, off again band.
Yeah, kind of whenever they want.
Usually when you use the word late, that means somebody died.
No, they're both alive and well.
Okay.
No, but it was founded in 1998. They're both native New Zealanders, so it's a New Zealand band. It's also they kind of go for the laughs. They refer to themselves as the almost award-winning fourth most popular folk duo in New Zealand. Okay. So they're very tongue-in-cheek. And like I said, they're like a comedy group. They do comedic music as well as like acoustic music, and they touch on a lot of genres within that. And outside of the band, they've actually had some acclaim. Brett won an Academy Award for writing the music for the Muppet movie.
Really?
Yes.
And that music is pretty dang good, so I can see why.
Yeah. Muppet of a Man. And he also had a
wait, hold on. Wait, which Muppet movie are you talking about?
The new ones.
Oh, I take it back then. I've not watched those. I thought you were talking about the Muppet movie.
No. I'm talking about the newer Muppet movies, the ones with Jason Segel or whatever.
Because you see, there is a movie called The Muppet Movie, so that's what I thought you were referring to.
No, for Muppet movies.
I see. Okay.
Since 2000. He also was an elf in Lord of the Rings, which is just funny. Jermaine, actually, he's done some work as an actor. He was the main villain in Men in Black 3, if you remember that movie.
Still haven't seen that one.
Boris the Animal. Well, you have seen he was the crab guy in Moana.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was wondering why he sounded familiar when I watched that movie.
Yeah, the guy who sings Shiny, which is blatantly a David Bowie reference, which we'll get into later.
Oh, yes, we will.
He also co-directed a movie called What We Do in the Shadows, which is a fantastic movie.
Oh, that's the vampire comedy, right?
Yeah, very funny.
Been meaning to watch that.
Paschetti. And their band hasn't done too much since 1998. They've released 2 albums. But they also released a BBC radio show, also called Flight of the Conchords, as well as an HBO show called Flight of the Conchords. Their show's actually very funny. It's about them being a band, but it's very, very dry New Zealand humor. So these guys, they've made names for themselves. And like I said, this is their self-titled debut album, released in 2008. A lot of this music also appears in their TV show as well. And these songs are also available as DLC on Rock Band. Just thought I was worth mentioning. I just thought that was funny.
So the band was founded in 1998, but they didn't release their first album until 2008?
Yeah, they just kind of went around and played live, and then they also made their BBC show and their HBO show.
So those came out before the first album?
The radio show came out before, yes, and the HBO show I think was concurrent with it. So yeah, then they released a second album in 2009, and then that was their 2 albums.
Have they done much since the late 2000s, or?
They actually just a year ago they released a live album from when they were touring in Europe. It's got a lot of it's just their songs from the first 2 albums. It's also got some new songs on it, and they are actually pretty hilarious as well. Their 10-minute country western song of Stana is a great song as well. So yeah, they, like I said, they come back together every now and then and put something together.
Those are the best kind of bands, the ones where they're just having fun with it.
Yeah,
like the Traveling Wilburys. Listen to some of that.
Oh, nice segue there, Sam.
Smooth.
Just another reason to talk about Jeff Lynne, huh?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Jumping into track number 1, then Foodie Fa Fa.
Foodie Fa Fa. Now, Sam, what do you think Foodie Fa Fa means in French?
It's absolute gibberish. It means nothing.
I was
forced to listen to this, and I can't remember if it was middle school or high school French. It was probably middle school French.
Forced by your French teacher?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's so the premise of this song, each song kind of has a different premise you kind of have to catch on to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as obvious as a Weird Al song where it's it's Beat It, but he's eating things, so it's Eat It, right?
Yeah, because these are original songs, not parody songs.
Yeah. Though they delve a little bit into parody in some cases, but mostly they're all
There's one in specific that I'm thinking of that is quite a parody.
But yeah, this one's Foodie Fa Fa is basically the concept you catch on pretty quickly, even as someone like me who doesn't speak French, is the fact that they're either saying things that are completely nonsensical that sound vaguely French, or lyrics that are just very extremely rudimentary,
French.
French,
Yeah, all foods. The phrases are phrases like, "Where is the library? Over there." That kind of stuff. "Where are the books? In the library. Where do you dance? Sequiturs. At the disco." That kind of stuff.
But it's also played over this very, overly French sounding acoustic sound, which actually sounds very pleasant. It's a very pleasant song to listen to.
It is.
Which kind of leans into the joke, because if you just didn't listen to the lyrics, it sound almost completely French.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're wait, he's just talking about going to the pool.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the phrase he didn't understand, Cooper.
Oh, yeah, yes.
But the worst part is, it's wow, this is more advanced French than they were ever able to teach me through school.
Well, they do cover food types and places.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thematic end of the song is someone asking him where the pool is, but they don't know enough French to answer, so he just says, no.
Well, she asks where the pool is, and he just kind of mumbles for a bit, and then she asks if he speaks French, and then he says no.
Which is pretty funny. And it's kind of mixed with these really French style plicky guitars and this kind of breathy, almost sensual vocalization.
Yeah.
It's all these window dressings without actually being a French song.
Yeah, and there's a bit of electronica about halfway through that pops in. I was trying to, since I've listened to this album a couple of times in the past, I was trying to listen more to the backing as opposed to the lyrics, since the lyrics are 100% the focus of the entirety of the album.
But the instrumentation itself is pretty solid throughout the entire album.
The instrumentation on this song is pretty solid. I would not.
Okay,
go
some of them are a little looser.
Most of them are loose, Cooper. It's a comedy album.
Yeah. I say they get the job done. Like at this point, like on the final chorus, like the female vocals come in and it has like this kind of synth layered into the backing chorus, which I think is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's the acoustic sound throughout the album. I'm probably going to say it way too many times. Is just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had multiple musicians on this album, but Brett and Jermaine themselves are both acoustic guitar players. So basically, every song in this album, no matter the genre, incorporates some amount of acoustic guitar. Usually a lot.
It just sounds really nice.
Yeah.
And right at the very end of it, there was some weird acoustic sound. Maybe it was just a filter over an acoustic guitar, but I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't know if you picked up on that at all.
Yeah, I kind of picked up on it, but I just figured it was kind of synthy something or something.
Yeah, who knows what it was. Some electronic filter or something along those lines.
Yeah, just that little flavor to the background. Yeah. A little crunch.
Jumping to track number 2 then, Inner City Pressure.
Inner City Pressure, which this is actually almost a direct parody song. Sam, did you know that?
I did not.
It's parodying the damn Pet Shop Boys. Specifically, they have this song called Weston Girls, which is literally a song about, the struggles of living in the city. It's like a kind of spoken word hip hop synth song, which describes this song pretty well.
Yeah, and it's got a pretty. This is one of the songs, one of the many where I'm disagreeing with you on the fantastic backing, because the drum kit is pretty bad on this one.
That's fair. Percussion is definitely not the strong point at any point in this album. This one's mostly a drum kit with like this kind of synth chords being played underneath it.
Yeah, the second half of the song is much better about the backing track, but the first half is not. The first half is not very good. But they got a bit of vocoder in there with the lyrics, which is nice.
Yeah. He's got a little vocoder, and then obviously the synth develops a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that little synth choir breakdown. Mm-hmm. Like they pressed a choir on like a default keyboard and they just played the chords, which I think is hilarious.
It's hard to tell when some of the things are just bad, but then some things they're clearly trying to make it bad.
It's like ironically bad.
Yeah. There's a pretty clear-cut example of that later on that we'll get to, but
and it's also got some pretty hilarious lyrics as well, about the struggles of living in the city, like a line about having to wear secondhand underwear or like become a prostitute to afford flute lessons, which is just absurd.
And having to stand in your living room because you sold all your chairs, so you just stand.
So
instead of sitting on the floor like a sane person.
Yeah, so the lyrics throughout the album are pretty solid. There's a couple examples where they're a little weird, but whenever the joke comes across, they're usually spot on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a shorter. A lot of the songs in this album are pretty short, just because there's only so long you can stretch a joke out for.
Yeah, and they usually don't stretch it over.
No, there's a couple examples, but usually they're very good about it.
I mean, it's like a 40-minute album with 15 songs, so you're averaging like 3 minutes a song.
Yeah.
So,
jump to track number 3 then.
Yeah, track number 3.
I'm going to copy and paste this one instead of typing it out, because holy shit, I am not typing out the hip hopopotamus versus the rhinoceros.
Yeah, I had to check like 5 times when I was typing this out to make sure I was spelling it right.
Oh, so the spelling on these is not you just copying and pasting from the wiki?
I mean, I do that sometimes.
Oh, Jesus. Well, who knows how many typos we've had in the past then? Because I always just thought you copy and pasted it from the wiki.
Oh, because it's just like the whole formatting and stuff. So sometimes I just do, if it's like not too many songs. But this is I guess I could describe it as an acoustic rap battle.
Yeah, well, it's not so much a battle though, because they're rapping together.
Yeah, I mean it's called verses, but
yeah, there's
just kind of them.
They're like riffing off each other and. Like they're rhyming as if they're rapping against the world together.
Yeah. So it's kind of got that braggadocious rap battle feel to it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's got like this plucky acoustic kind of sparsely used in the background. got the drum pad back. Though when it kicks in, it's pretty head bopping. But obviously, it's about the lyricism of the rap.
Of course. And it's absurdist, to say the least.
I'll probably say this is probably what I think. This is probably one of the funnier tracks on the album. Just because of how they were very meek rappers, which kind of like they've got like these New Zealand accents and they're talking about, being hardcore rappers.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got lines about like yeah, sometimes my lyrics are sexist, but you lovely bitches and hoes, I'm trying to correct this. Kind of mumbles off.
The line about nothing's better than grandma's tea parties.
So obviously the joke of it being they're not very, hardcore at all.
Yeah.
That they're trying to pass themselves off as.
It's all right, but it gets old a little quick, and they know that, so it plays out pretty fast. Because who would want to listen to a whole album about rapping? That's a joke. We certainly would never do that.
Wait. Well, as long as they don't have some sort of, I don't know, vaguely European accent put on the entire time.
Or come up with some absurd name for it, like chap hop or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
That would be terrible.
So good thing this is only a 2-minute song.
Speaking of that, you should go click down below for our YouTube channel and watch Can't Stop, Shan't Stop review.
Lord. I did think about that album whenever I was listening to this. I'm like, wow, full circle, huh?
Yeah. I want to see a Mr. B the Gentleman Rhymer and a hip hop rhinoceros, hip hopopotamus and rhinoceros co-op.
Finally, the super team that nobody asked for.
And nobody wanted. But this one's a short one.
Oh yeah, it's got some pretty funny lyrics overall.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the whole ending of them just like talking about who's the mother flipping. Also.
Yeah, it's this whole thing is just a comedy album. It's hard to dig deep because they're not trying to be serious.
But they do make some bops.
Yeah, they do.
Which I think they do. Oh, sorry. You're going to talk?
Oh, no, I was going to move on if you
oh, yeah.
something else.
Going to say, like, the next song, track number 4, Think About It, which I was looking into. They described it as the Black Eyed Peas song, Where's the Love, as done by Marvin Gaye, which is...
Okay.
Very specific.
I don't know if I've ever heard that Black Eyed Peas song. I've got to admit, I don't really ever listened to Black Eyed Peas.
It's a very preachy song about why can't we just all love each other? Which is kind of what this song's kind of go about. I'll describe it as like someone talking about the issues, but like only how the issues like affected them personally as like some sort of middle class person.
Yeah.
So they're very detached.
Especially the lines about they're using child slaves to make shoes, but why aren't their shoes any cheaper? What's your overhead costs?
Or the things about like inner city kids fighting with forks and knives and people with their heads chopped off just lying on the street.
Yeah.
Like just completely out of touch things.
I saw a man with his head chopped off and I was the only one to check to see if he was alive. He wasn't.
It's also played over this very smooth, like acoustic accompaniment, like with some like clapping in the background.
Yeah.
Like all the cheesy like self-love songs always have.
So this is the one I was specifically talking about with the extremely terrible breakdown that was totally intentional to be terrible.
Oh, their acapella breakdown at 2:30
that has no singing.
It's just them very awkwardly going, yeah, like over complete silence.
Yeah.
Though it does break back into the acoustic kind of nicely, unironically.
Yeah, it does, but it's that whole last 45 seconds of the song is just taking the piss out of that kind of stuff.
Just a super shitty acapella break.
But they weren't even singing a cappella. They were just saying words every once in a while. It was mostly silent.
Oh, that's funny. I've watched they have a live album version of some of these songs.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get to think about it, they specifically say like, all right, here it comes, the completely impromptu a cappella jam. We haven't thought of anything ahead of time. And they get to it and they're like, yeah. So, oh man. Yeah, no, this is a great kind of definitely taking the piss out of things.
Yeah. Jumping to track number 5 then.
Track
Ladies
number
of the
5.
World.
Ladies of the World. Which I think might be the most sonically interesting song of the album. I know it's got like this very deep, like sexy bass underneath it, with like a very sensual vocals. We'll put it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that whispering though. They do whispering right later on, but this one's just a bit too close to the mic for me.
Oh, I love it, especially since it's obviously like a sexy love ballad about giving out to all the ladies in the world, which they name very specifically.
Yeah, all the ladies.
Presbyterians, amphibians, all of them.
I will say the breakdown in this one again is very odd. I don't like that voice that was used.
What the da 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 da? Like I'm learning in school, but it threw rap.
Yeah, it's it makes the song weirder than it already is.
It's I was looking at. Apparently, it's actually a homage to this like 1980s rap called holiday rap. That's like it's all done in that style.
Ugh.
It's 1980s rap, so it's very in style with that. So it's kind of like a throwback to a very spoken word rhymey rap.
Oh, it's so bad.
I haven't visited in DC.
He's not even like trying to keep time. He's just talking.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird, funky rap breakdown. An otherwise like very sonically pleasant song.
I'm going to argue against that because there was a fade out a minute of the song left, and then it fades back in. And there's I thought they were going to do some kind of joke with that, but no, it was just a minute where it fades out, it comes back in with them doing some singing, and then it fades out again. And that
I love it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like this angelic sing that swells in and then swells back out. I've never seen that before.
Well, just because you've never seen it before doesn't mean it's good.
Well, I just think it's neat.
I just think it's neat. I'll crunk with you, honey. Anyway,
at least it sounds good.
Yeah, I mean it sounds good, but it was just it was because I can see that being used in an actual song, you know, and I'm just like it feels unnecessary here.
Honestly, it's probably a reference to some song that I don't get.
Probably.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting.
Do you stop making if it's going to be a reference or intentionally bad, you have to convey that to the audience, right? That's in art. If you're intentionally doing something bad, it has to be abundantly clear. Otherwise, you know, you could just make something shitty and then you say, "Oh, I made it intentionally bad." It's like, no, you just made it shitty.
I think it's weird. I don't think it's bad. At least not this part. They've had other parts.
Yeah, no, it's definitely weird, but it's on the verge of being bad. I don't like it.
I very much like it. I think it adds a lot of flavor to the song.
Fair enough. Anyway, jump into track number 6 if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, we will. Track number 6. Mother Uckers. Or Uckas, sorry. Which I guess is like a kind of a parody of rap censorship. Because it comes in with like this really farty synth backing. In fact, most of the song is this farty synth backing.
Mm-hmm. I actually like it.
You like the farty synth?
Yeah, I really the drum kit is way too crisp though. I don't like that.
It is a very crisp drum kit. But obviously the main joke of this song is the fact that they kind of self-censored themselves. And as the song goes along, more and more of it gets censored.
Yeah, there was that one solo, I don't know what to call it. It was him rapping about the guy in the grocery store. Except you would only get a word every once in a while because everything was censored. And I mean, I chuckled a little bit, but that joke is so old. Like, was it even fresh in 2008? Like, that's
definitely. No, this is definitely a one-note song. They definitely have the first ones being like, it's funny when the radio censors things. Let's do a song about that.
Yeah, but I was like, man, I'm glad it was so short because holy crap, it was a flimsy concept to start.
Yeah. This is not their stronger concept on the album.
I mean, it had a good beat and pace to it, but the fact that it was all leading up to him just saying avocado in his ass and just blanks all over. I'm like, okay. I mean, I remember doing that when I was a kid.
But come on, the line, he's gonna wake up in a smoothie. That's funny.
It's all right. I'll say it. It's a weak song.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the weaker songs in the album. The chord joke itself isn't super. It doesn't have a lot of legs to stand on.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what is a good song. Track number 7.
Oh, you're a fan of the Prince of Parties.
Why would I not be a fan of the Prince of Parties? It has sitar, flute, bongos, pan flute.
It's a very psychedelic, like late Beatles inspired type thing going on here.
I would argue that this is the most well produced song on the album.
Really?
Yeah. Musically, anyway. I wasn't paying too much attention to the lyrics, I'll admit, because I was so lost in the backing track.
It is definitely like a very Green Tambourine-esque, like psychedelic trip. And yeah, the lyrics are almost completely nonsense, even more so than usual.
Yeah, they were a little bit repetitive, but it's just so different than anything else on the album so far. And it was really short. This was the only one I was like, man, I wish they carried that on longer. But that was mainly because it had sitar in it and bongos, and I'm a sucker for those. Yeah,
it's definitely some different instrumentation. And like you said, it's like 2 minutes, so it doesn't really like linger too long.
Yeah, but I guess since they focused mainly on the lyrics, they ran out of lyrical ideas, so they ended the song.
It's basically just him talking about some Prince of Parties.
Yeah.
Like I said, very, very absurd.
Yeah. Can I come to your party?
No.
No.
The line about her being a picture of the devil's daughter while I'm a pitcher of holy water.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but hey.
It's good.
It's good.
And that's like right at the start as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping to track number 8 then.
Track
Leggy
number
Blonde
8.
Featuring, I don't know how you say that.
Rise Darby? Rise, I think is it. Who's actually, fun fact, have you seen the new Jumanji movies?
No, and I don't want to. They look pretty bad.
Oh, well, he's in that. He's the main Jumanji guy. He's pretty funny in that, too. Yeah, he's the lead singer in this one.
Huh. Well, it was a nice change of pace, I'll have to say. I was getting a little tiny bit sick of their voices by this point.
Yeah, it's a nice... he's a surprisingly good singer for an actor. And
I didn't know he was an actor. I just thought he was one of their friends or something.
Yeah, well, he is that too. He was also in What We Do in the Shadows, which Jermaine co-directed. Mm-hmm. He's a werewolf in that one.
I see.
He's got the great line of, guys, what do I always say? We're werewolves, not swear wolves. Yeah, so keep it clean.
I've seen that line written before.
Yeah, it's this guy.
I would call the vocal line repetitive in this one, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for.
Well, the whole song's like a love song about someone who's like leaving his life. But all he really knows about her is that he likes her hair and legs.
Yeah.
So all the lyrics are literally just about her hair and or legs.
And most of it is him just repeating legs and blonde.
Yeah, I guess it's like the joke is that it's like it sounds very heartfelt, but the lyrics are very, very superficial.
Yeah.
They'll just have like this interesting like office noises, like a stapler, like scissors in the background as the percussion. Which is a little creative.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that there's only 4 chords used in this song, and I'm pretty sure it's the 4 chords from Axis of Awesome that they sang about too.
Axis of Awesome?
Oh, have you not heard of them?
Is that a parody band?
Yeah, it's basically, they made a song called 4 Chords, and it's almost all modern music uses 4 chords.
Ah.
And they have a whole song where they just compile a shit ton of the songs together. We'll have to listen to that after this. I can't believe it. I used to listen to that all the time when I was a kid. It's a good song.
Oh yeah, I will. I mean, I'm not sure if they did that consciously or that's they were trying to make song like
it's
that.
present across the entirety of the music industry. I think it's just they sound good together. It's 4 chords that sound good, but they're overused to the point of absurdity. Although you don't really ever notice them because the songs are so different, you know?
Just caveman brain like those sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, the song just had like a weird rap breakdown.
Yeah, that breakdown was awful, and I'm not sure it was intended to be awful.
Well, it's supposed to be like his inner monologue. He just wants to banger.
Yeah,
but I thought it was not necessary for this song.
Yeah,
kind of threw it off, honestly.
It really did. But yeah, I like the guest vocalist. Brings a different sound to the mix since they've been focusing on vocals the entirety of the album.
Yeah, and they do a little bit more on track number 9, Robots.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this one.
I like Robots.
I was digging the sound of the synth and the sound effects, and then a little bit of vocoder, and then it comes in with the spoken vocal line, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't like this.
Well, I mean, I guess they were trying to sound robotic on this one on purpose.
Yeah, they are, but does not a good song make, you know?
Oh, I think it's pretty good. I think it works pretty well with like the very there's somehow to make a futuristic like techno song with mostly acoustic sounds, which I think is pretty impressive. And also the concept of the robotic uprising and the robots won. And this from the robots' perspective in the distant future of the year 2000.
Mm-hmm. I will admit the speaking while inhaling was a pretty funny touch.
When he's doing the Stephen Hawking voice.
Yeah, because you can do that because you speak by exhaling. And if you speak by inhaling, it sounds odd.
You sound like a robot all the time.
I can't breathe.
Yeah. I can't breathe. No. So yeah, I didn't mind the vocals too much, even though they were obviously supposed to be actually robotic. And come on, who doesn't like the binary solo?
It's okay. Is that some kind of meme that took off on its own? Because when I searched up Flight of the Conchords, that was one of the top links was about the binary solo.
No, I think people just like this song.
Oh. Yeah, I went to I wanted to look up what the solo meant in binary, and I couldn't get an answer. But the Flight of the Conchords wiki compared it to "Here Is the News" by Electric Light Orchestra from the Time album. And I'm like, no.
I can't say I got that from that.
No. I mean, maybe that's what they were basing it on, but there's no... It doesn't... I was like, I did not make that connection because Here's the News is a good song, and this isn't, you know?
Oh, this is a good song.
They're two very different things, and there's no connotation between them, it feels like.
Well, I don't know why they're compared to each other. I guess they're both futuristic.
No, but the entirety of the Time album is the future concept. I'm pretty sure what happened was they based this song off of Here's the News. Because I cannot see anyone drawing a correlation between those two songs because they have nothing alike.
They both take place in the future.
Okay.
There we go. That's all you need.
Taylor Swift and Kanye West sing the same thing because their songs take place in the present.
Well, they're not about the present.
Yeah, whatever. Jumping to the next track then.
Track 10, Boom.
And if I thought Robots was bad, I wasn't prepared for how much worse it could get.
Yeah, Boom is a weird one. It's like done this kind of faux like Jamaican accent with a 1980s Casio DG20 digital car set to mandolin being the main instrument.
Yeah. It's the joke of this one is he's just replacing he's telling a story but replacing a lot of words with boom.
Yeah, this is the most one-up song out of all of them.
And the joke is played out 45 seconds in, and then the song goes for another minute 15. Yeah,
this is definitely the most unnecessary song.
Yeah.
It's like okay, this one's not even funny, or it doesn't even sound good.
Yeah. I wrote one line. I was like, this is a really bad song, even for a joke song. It's bad and it's not funny. So.
Yeah. This one's a pretty hard pass.
Yeah. Jumping to track number 11 then, moving on real quick from that. A Kiss is Not a Contract.
A Kiss is Not a Contract. Yeah, this one's kind of a little sleepy acoustic song. It's mostly about how, if you're kissing doesn't mean that you can move on to third base and so forth.
Yeah, so, this one had a lot of funny innuendos in it. I liked it.
I do like the kind of self-aware song of, just because I'm in a novelty band doesn't mean I'm all about the poontang, which is just a hilarious line.
Yeah. And getting into more the backing on this one, the instrumental progression shown in the first half of the album, the second half has basically none of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a little weaker in the second half. I mean, this one adds in like a little tambourine, a little bit of whistling.
Yeah. But
But it's
compared
also
to earlier, it's like this song has nothing. You know, they add whistling. That's their progression.
Yeah, it's a very sparse song. But it's also like a 2-minute song, so
Yeah,
it
and
gets
it's
the point
mainly
across
focused
the
on
lead.
sexual innuendos. So
Yeah, so
and it's pretty funny.
and they call it a fly because it takes you up to heaven. That's so yeah, just a sleepy little nice song. That's pretty forgettable.
Yeah. Other than that one line about if he banged everybody he kissed, he'd never have any time.
So yeah, pretty funny song overall.
Jump into track number 12, another one that I had heard a lot. The most beautiful girl in the room.
In the room, which, as the title kind of alludes to, the concept of the song is complimenting someone, but also kind of like with a lot of qualifiers.
Yeah.
Like you're the most beautiful girl in the room, or if you were on a street, you'd probably be in the top 3.
You're the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen eating a kebab.
It's also done over this very pretty acoustic playing that has some like bass added in and a little bit of synth later.
Mm-hmm.
This is certainly one of the more pleasant songs on the album.
I really like the layered vocals where one is singing very high and the other is singing low. It's a very nice effect.
Yeah. And also I like whenever he hits the dance floor, that's when the drums come in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And then the strong bass comes in as well. Oh. This is right after I complained about there not being any progression, they throw all the progression in.
Yeah, this is definitely one of their most complete songs on the entire album. And also just a really funny song in general.
Yeah. The
line about him asking his friend Dave if he could hit on her. It's like, I could tell he kind of minds, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah. Are you going to hit on her? He wasn't sure. So I'm going to do it. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
And of course it has the closer about how she could be a part-time model, but spend the rest of your time hanging with me. Mm-hmm. And then very quietly adds in, and also the rest of the time working your other job.
Yeah. Don't quit your day job.
Yes, very, very undercut.
It's another funny one. Jump into track number 12, or 13 rather.
Yeah, track number 13. Business Time. Which is they had a couple sensual songs on this album. This one's probably the most blatantly sensual out of all of them.
It's another romantic style song, but whenever his wife is speaking, it's just her speaking, which I thought was great.
It's just the Jermaine speaking in a very high nasally voice.
Yeah,
which is obviously otherwise he's singing in a very like Barry White-esque like deep voice.
Yeah. It's very very sensual deep singing, but not sensual deep response.
Yeah, it's basically about boring married sex.
Yeah.
Like it's them doing Wednesday. Their laundry and then...
That means it's business time.
Or about them brushing their teeth as their foreplay.
She asks, is that it? And what she means is, yeah, that's it.
So yeah, very funny. This one commits full heart into it. It also helps that it has like a very, the instrumentation is very sensual with like the like farty synth and like the bass line into it.
I will say, I think the chorus repeated maybe one too many times. Could have chopped that out because this was a bit of a longer one.
Yeah. I do like how the last chorus ended on like this kind of prolonged synth solo that kind of led the song out.
Yeah. Earlier on, it's just a story song. You could cut the chorus out. They did it 4 or 5 times in there. You cut that down.
There's also the live version of the song has a lyric that isn't in this one.
Oh,
which is hey baby, 2 minutes in heaven is better than 1 minute in heaven. So
jump into track number 14 then.
Yeah, which is the last really complete track on the album.
The last song on the album.
Appropriately titled Bowie.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm a really big fan of David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually hadn't listened to this track over I think last summer. I listened through his whole discography. So I listened to this since I came back, and it's pretty clear very big fans of David Bowie.
Yeah.
There's like 4 different songs in this song that like are
and they're
referenced.
constantly doing David Bowie impressions too.
Which is, they're both doing it, and they're both talking to each other like they're both David Bowie.
This is Bowie to Space Bowie.
So it like starts with like this very obvious homage to Space Oddity, except David Bowie's literally in space.
Mm-hmm.
And then like switching to like this like John, I'm only dancing like vibe. So it's extremely nonsensical. And if you didn't like listen to any David Bowie or like know much about him, this song makes literally zero sense.
Yeah, especially since it doesn't flow between the songs very well.
Yeah, they're very distinct cuts.
Yeah.
So it's probably the most specific parody song on like any album I've heard. Especially whenever they like on a dime switch into like a Let's Dance style beat.
Yeah, that was probably the most jarring.
Bowie.
Yeah, but it's pretty dang funny. This was probably the funniest one to me. Well, at least since I'd heard the rest of it. I guess I had listened to part of the album, or I don't know. Or more likely was I listened to this album a very long time ago when I was a child, and I didn't know who the fuck David Bowie was. Because I did not listen to as much music that wasn't whatever my parents put on at that point. So, and I don't think my parents are fans of David Bowie.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, they reference some of his more popular songs, but even then, if you didn't listen to any of this, it'd be like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some funny puns just even without getting the references, like a groovitational pool. Mm-hmm. Or asking Bowie if he smokes grass in space, or AstroTurf, which is
yeah,
a great line.
But the best part is the pretty bad Bowie impressions throughout the whole
thing.
Yeah,
the fact that they just commit to it the entire song.
Yeah,
I was reading online that apparently this was one of the first songs that they formed their band like 2 years before they put out their first album, and this was one of the first songs they performed live. They said it was over like a really crappy like speaker, so people just thought they were doing like a really bad Bowie cover because they couldn't understand the lyrics. And then, of course, they commit to it and put it in their actual first album, which is
it's pretty funny good. In itself. It is one of the better ones on the album, I think.
Yeah, the fact that they just commit so like it loops back around to being awesome just because they commit so hard to the shtick.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess we can talk about the last track. I'm not going to call it a song.
Yeah, it's like a 22-second closer called Au Revoir, track number 15, which I guess is just to give it like a little thematic ending.
Yeah. Out the way we went in with bad French accents.
Bad French. It just sounds a little bit like Voodoo Fafa, and it just closes the album out on that.
And it's 20 seconds with a fade out, so it's about 10 seconds.
I mean, I guess they didn't want to end the album on Bowie, which I guess makes it...
Fair enough. I think they could have, but oh well.
But yeah, and that's the complete album. That's Flight of the Conchords by Flight of the Conchords.
So Cooper, what would you say your favorite? Actually, let's do least favorite first. What's your least favorite song on the album?
I think it's pretty clear that my least favorite song is Boom.
Yeah.
Most songs on this album either have a funny premise or like good instrumentation or both. Boom has neither.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one at its welcome, like a fourth of the way into it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just don't care for it at all. It's kind of grating, honestly.
Yeah, I have the same answer. I have nothing. You said everything I would have said. So it's a 2-minute song that overstates its welcome by 1:15,
which is impressive. It's a hard skip.
Yeah, so don't listen to that one. What about your favorite? What's your favorite song on this album, Cooper?
Ooh, favorites? I'd probably have to put second place is probably "Ladies of the World."
Mm-hmm.
I just love sonically how it sounds. Like the instrumentation is so good, and you know what? I'll stand by that fade in, fade out ending. I think it's pretty interesting, and I like how angelic it sounds.
Fair enough.
But my favorite is probably Voodoo Fafa. In terms of just like a joke that like every time I listen to it, it's still funny.
Yeah.
Just how bad their French is. I was
it's
even
also
looking
a good song.
Oh yeah, it sounds great. I was even looking up, and apparently even some of the French is like grammatically wrong, like even in those really tiny sentences.
Really?
Which I think makes it like. Instead of like I'm going to the grocery store, it goes going to the grocery store. I am like it's like in like weird like backwards speech. So that just the more I look into it, the funnier and like better it gets. So it grows, it ages like a fine wine. What about you, Sam?
As much as I do really like Foodie Fafa, I also really like the Bowie song, but I think I'm gonna have to go with the Prince of Parties.
Huh?
Just the amount of instruments that they shoved in there that you don't normally get to hear is just great. I love it.
And they did it surprisingly well too.
Yeah, and plus, the lyrics are a tiny bit repetitive, but it's the most out there song instrumentally on the album that I just like it. I don't know. I think I need to start listening to Eastern music. Maybe that's what it is. I think that's what it is. I like quarter steps. I like sitars.
And you like this song?
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense to me. Well, in that case, Sam, what would you give this album as your final rating?
Well, we got to do the rating system first.
I always forget about explaining it.
Well, since you forget, I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Here at Audio Shop, we have a car-themed rating system because I actually became a mechanic this weekend. Proud to say.
Wow.
My
You
car's
graduated.
backup brake light switch was broken, so I pulled out the old one and also removed about 5 square millimeters of my skin in the process, and put a new one in. Because the dealer or the shop I took it to was going to charge me $118 to do that. The part was $25, and you unscrew the old one and screw the new one in. So I said, no, thank you. I will do that myself. But I knew that was going to happen, which is why we decided to make a car-themed podcast all those years ago.
Regular John Travolta over here.
Yeah.
A greaser going on.
So top of the top is 5 out of 5. Showroom, cream of the crop, the Hulk Hogan. Well, not so much. The John Cena. That's a better example. He hasn't said the N-word as far as I know.
I hope not.
I sure hope not. And he does a lot of Make-A-Wish, so hopefully he's not a terrible person. And then we have 1 out of 5, bottom of the barrel. Your Nacho Libre of albums. And then we got in between, and we use points and whatever. We say high fixer upper, low fixer upper, and it changes depending on our mood and that kind of thing. But Cooper, I think I would probably give this, I'm going to stall for time again since I didn't type it in beforehand. I think I would probably give this a high fixer upper.
Okay.
It's a good album. It's funny, but it's in terms of music, it's all right. It's a comedy album. You listen to it to laugh, right? You don't listen to it because the music's good. Some of the music is good. Quite a bit of the music isn't good. So it's kind of in that gray area. But I think it's funny, and it's got some good musical moments. So yeah, if you want to listen to it, listen to it. I'm not going to say, hey, you got to go out of your way and listen to it. I will say listen to Foodie Fafa, but other than that, not so much.
Yeah, no. Your mileage can vary on this one.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to be a little more generous and give it a like new. Just because I think in terms of like the comedy album, this one goes a little bit farther than some. They touch on a lot of different genres. Well, some of the songs don't stick. The Landing. I think there's enough like great songs that I just like listening to, even for the instrumentation.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them have pretty funny concepts to begin with. I think they thoroughly achieve what they were setting out to do. Yeah, there's some duds. Mother Uckers, Boom. Not exceptionally great. But as a whole, I think this album's got a lot to offer. And, if you're into something, just have a pretty funny sung album experience. I think this is one of the first places you should go to.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you like them a little bit more than I do as well. So that might play into it.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, it's a comedy album. And the comedy,
yeah,
even more so than music, is like subjective.
Yeah.
So, mileage may vary. But for me, I'd give it a like new.
Yeah. But definitely listen to Foodie Fafa. That's probably their most famous song.
If you like David Bowie.
Yeah, the Bowie one's pretty good too. Anyway, that's the end of Fly the Conchords by Fly the Conchords. And now we're going to transition on over to the Spare Tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to over the past week since our last one. And what have you been listening to, Cooper?
Yeah. I listened to a new Glass Animals album. Remember when we reviewed How to Be a Human Being so
Mm-hmm.
far back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just released a new album called Dreamland, and it's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as their last album, How to Be a Human Being, but it's got a lot of the Glass Animal isms in it, right? Very got some dreamy, got some electronica. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and if you like Glass Animals, give it a listen because it's more of that. What about you, Sam? Any recommendations?
Well, I've been listening to the Traveling Wilburys, which I alluded to at the
The
start.
Traveling, Samuel, who are they?
Well, who are the Traveling Wilburys? Well, it's George Harrison's band that he got together after the Beatles, or kind of during-ish. And it consisted of George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, and Jeff Lynne. And,
That's I think that's a super group to indulge super groups. Huh?
Yeah, and I know probably a lot of people. I don't know about you, Cooper, if you know who Roy Orbison is, but he was one of the most famous country.
No. I'm like I haven't listened to any of his music, but I'm like vaguely familiar about him. Enough to know that like is a big name.
Yeah. So basically, him, Tom Petty, and George Harrison are the most famous people. You could argue Bob Dylan's super famous.
Oh, Bob Dylan's super famous.
Bob Dylan's a household name, I'd say.
I mean, we can do impressions of him. I don't even listen to his music.
Yeah, that's true. And this all started because I was listening to my Spotify daily mix, and Cold Dark Place came on, and I was like, this is pretty. It's Traveling Wilburys, who I've been meaning to listen to because that was George Harrison and Jeff Lynne started that band because Jeff Lynne was a co-producer on one of George Harrison's albums, Cloud 9.
I didn't know that.
And I was like, I've been meaning to listen to them. And then Bob Dylan starts singing, and I'm like, hold on, who was actually in the Traveling Wilburys? I'm not sure. So I had to look that up. And yeah, one of the other songs on the album has a duet of Tom Petty and Bob Dylan, and it's just as bad as it sounds. They both have very unique singing styles that do not mesh whatsoever.
Oh man,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just interesting. I'll have to give them a listen just because of like how much like big names are behind the project.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I will say so far, there's not been too terribly many that have super stuck out to me. Cool Dry Place. Sorry, I don't know what I called it before. Cool Dry Place is probably my favorite so far, and that the only person singing that one is Bob Dylan, and he actually does a pretty good job. It sounds a lot more like Tom Petty style. Maybe it is Tom Petty. They have very similar singing styles now that I hear them side by side. It's I'm not sure why we give Bob Dylan so much flack when Tom Petty just is basically Bob Dylan inverted.
Who's able to sneak in under the radar.
Exactly, because Bob Dylan kind of goes up, Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty's Tom Petty. He goes down. It's basically they're just flips of each other.
It's subtle. It's a subtle difference.
It is, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. A lot of musical genius going on there, and arguably the only the outlier of the group is Jeff Lynne, who probably nobody knows the name of for the most part. But
I mean, if you said the main guy of Electric Light Orchestra, everyone would be like, "Oh yeah."
Arguably, I would say nowadays. I will say probably more people know who ELO is just because of Mr. Blue Sky has been making the rounds again as a popular song. But you go back 5-6 years, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, younger people probably aren't as familiar with ELO, but us old heads,
I don't know what you're talking about, Cooper. You're a full year older than me, so I'm still in my prime. I'm young. I'm nubile.
Okay, I don't think that word means what you think it means.
I don't think so either. I should probably look that up now that I've said it.
It's like sexually fertile.
Does it? I regret using. Oh yeah, it does. Of marriable condition or age, used of young women. Okay, thank you. Good to know. No. I'd never looked up that definition before.
Don't say that to your grandma.
I will not. I'll use spry instead.
Yeah, Spry's a little less sexual in nature.
But anyway, that's been the Auto Shop podcast. If you've liked what you heard, you can click that picture of Jeff Lynne down below, and it'll take you over to our YouTube where we have all the past broadcasts. I don't think I've made public like the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I should probably do that at some point. Will I do it tonight? Probably not. So just keep an eye on it. And if you're listening on YouTube and you like what you hear, then you can come on over to Twitch, twitch.tv/audioshop. I think that's what it is. Yeah, audio_shop. And we are live 8 p.m. on Sunday evenings. 8 p.m. Eastern, I should say.
8 Eastern.
And what about the Twitter, Cooper?
Yes, and also if you want to know exactly what we're going to be reviewing, stop on by our Twitter at AudioShop14. We'll let you know what we're listening to, and if we change the time, we'll let you know there as well.
Yeah, although
also,
lately, if we haven't been able to do it Sunday at 8, we just say and cancel.
We just postpone it.
I remember early on when we would we'll do it Monday. No, not anymore.
Well, I work on Monday.
I work, Monday evenings. I got that thing.
Thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, just non-specific, non-committal.
Oh, just anything.
I've scheduled Audio Shop for this time. If it falls outside of this time period, I'll just cancel it.
Monday is when I water my peace lily. And that's just a whole afternoon.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, see you later, shoppies.
See you later, shoppies. See ya.
See ya.